What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Eternal Fruit Podcast. As always, your host, Alex and
Adriana.
And today we have a very special guest. Many of you might know her because she is the real estate goat, in my opinion, Karen Gonzalez.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. I'm doing great. How are y'all?
We're
pretty
good.
Pretty good.
I'm excited, honestly.
Yeah, heck yeah. Especially after the combo we had prior to this. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
How are you feeling?
I'm excited too. I'm feeling good. Thank y'all for having me. And yeah, we were catching up, getting to know each other a little bit before pressing record. So I feel like I already know so much about you guys. And I feel super fortunate that y'all even thought of me. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. You were actually like the first person that came to mind whenever
what
we
an
were
honor.
planning this. Yeah.
Wow.
And the first person to respond as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we're here to help each other out.
Yeah.
And kind of in the season of wanting to give back more and serve more. So I really am so happy to be here.
For sure. Thank you. You have definitely helped me out a lot, I would say. And I think I met you in April, right?
I think so.
Right.
It was what, Eric's birthday?
Eric's birthday, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Eric and Elvira. And Sergio.
We love you guys.
I won't forget Sergio.
Sergio
hyping
and Kate,
me up,
too.
You know,
yeah.
but yeah, man, you have helped me out. I guess before this, I would give you your flowers because you've helped me out a lot, you know, and I guess when opportunity knocks, well, the right one, of course, right? You've been there to help me out, and I've learned so much. So thank you.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. You've been a super big help too when I've left town and things like that. You've been there to help, so I appreciate you.
No, for sure, anytime. But yeah, I guess first I wanted to start off with, I know we've touched a little bit on like how you got started, but I mean, Adriana, and then those who don't know, like how did you get started with real estate?
Yeah, so I got started in real estate when I was actually 19. I graduated high school early and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I took a little bit of a break from school while I was working and I thought I wanted to go into nursing, neonatal nursing specifically.
Oh, wow.
So I thought I was going to be taking care of babies all day. And when I started taking my health science classes, that's when I was like, yeah, like this isn't my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I was going to San Jac at the time. Best community college ever, in my opinion.
We agree.
I'm like, shout out. I know.
Yeah, we're there just to play pool, though.
Yeah.
Me.
We would get out of class just to go play pool. So, and he was in a different
I used to skip my second class to go play pool with her.
Yeah, like high school, I would skip all the time because it wasn't pleasant for me, which is why I was like, okay, me necesito poner las pilas, and I graduated early. But when I got into San Jac, I was like, wow, this is so cool. Like, they have a Starbucks here.
Yeah.
I can walk everywhere. I get to choose my classes. Like, what more could I want? You know, it was a really great experience for me. So I went to the counselor and I was like, hey, these prereqs for nursing program, like, they're just not for me. What else do you have? And he mentioned real estate. And my mom was in the mortgage industry a long time ago, and my parents were starting to get into real estate investing at the time. So I decided to sign up for my real estate classes, and I loved them. Like, as soon as I started taking my classes, I knew, like, okay, this is my jam. And that's how I got into real estate. Right after I turned 20, I passed my real estate exam.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. Nice. So, like, within a year, right? Because you graduated at 19.
Yeah, it was pretty quick.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. I think I took all my classes in one semester. A lot of people don't know that you only need to take 7 classes to get your real estate license.
Dang,
so
I didn't know that.
Pretty quick. Some people do it in as fast as, like, a few weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I've heard of that, too. But
yeah.
I wish I could say the same because I went for real estate first right after high school, but I was the opposite, and I'm like, this is not for me. But it was mostly because, one, at that time, I was very, like, addicted to fantasy football. So I would just be in class. Because, you know, I think we touched on this before. We had the same professor. I forgot his name. But the U of H guy.
Yeah, Mr. Turnquist.
Yeah, and you know how he would only be there, like, once, like, every month. And he'd rotate campus. So when he was online, I would just, like, be on my phone. I saw the contract paperwork, and that's when I was like, yeah, this is not for me.
I'm out.
Yeah, but that's cool. One thing that stood out right now is how we were talking about like family business stuff, and you touched how your mom was in the mortgage, and then they started getting into real estate, and then that's what you ended up doing now.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my mom was in the mortgage industry for years, for a long time, and she loves numbers. She's a numbers woman. And so, yeah, they started investing in real estate and getting some rental properties. And I think that's what also kind of drove me to get into just being an agent, is I wanted to learn more about investing. It was really interesting to me. And I started investing, you know, almost as soon as I could. Like as soon as I had some deals under my belt, had some money saved, like I started investing as soon as I could.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I was also going to ask, like, when you realized you actually love real estate, but it sounds like you caught on pretty fast, you know? That's awesome because a lot of people, a lot of us don't, you know? But I want to ask, like, when you did your first transaction, like, one, how long did it take? And two, what did you feel?
Yeah, so for a few months, I was just doing like rentals, right? A lot of new agents, that's how they start off. So I was hitting up all my friends, and I came from the restaurant industry. So all my regular clients from when I was in the restaurant industry, I was hitting them up and trying to get some clients. I did a lot of rentals, but finally I got my first buyer client. It was a referral from my mom. She's like my biggest cheerleader and support
awesome.
ever. Same. Yeah. And I mean, I was very nervous because I put really high expectations and really high pressure on myself, you know, and so I was very nervous. And so I treated this transaction like my newborn baby. I mean, it was all I could think about from the morning I woke up to the time I went to sleep. I was like, every email, every document, I was literally reading every word, looking it up, rereading every email before I sent it. I mean, I was just so tedious with this transaction because I didn't want my lack of experience I wanted to offset my lack of experience, right? But everything went great. It happened very fast, to answer your question. From the time that I signed them on as clients to the time that we closed, it was maybe 45 days, which a real estate transaction takes about 30 days. So it was very quick. And I found out later that it happened so fast because it was a couple, and they were expecting and getting married. And so they wanted to do all these things and get settled into their new house before she went back to school because she was in education. So that's why it happened so fast, because they had like a timeline. They had other personal things going on.
Yeah, they had a whole new chapter.
They had a whole new chapter, and the house was kind of like that first domino. So I think that had to do with like the timeliness of it. But I'll never forget that first transaction.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I haven't had one, but I'm working on it, as you know. But that's pretty cool. I had a question lined up, but I completely forgot it.
No, I will say that when Alex was like super into like real estate, when he realized like that's what he was gonna go for, I was like, man, like maybe that's something that I would want to do. And he even gave me some books.
I let him borrow the books.
Yeah, and then I read it and I was like, yeah, nah, this is too much paperwork. Like, it's not just about, because I was telling you that I'm like a people person. Like, I may not be super extroverted, but I like to talk to people. I like to help people. And I was like, maybe I could do it. Like, it's helping people. But when I saw the back end, all the paperwork and what else it takes to it, I was like, yeah, nah, man, that's all you.
But I will say it looks like a lot. But, like, once you get, at least, like, DocuSign, I don't know what you use. But when you get on there, it's so easy. Like, it's pretty much, I mean, yeah, be like her, like, where you read everything, make sure you understand everything. But it's not. It's like it's a lot, but it's not a lot because you only fill out. It gives you. It's basically like fill in the blank.
Dang, I didn't know that.
You know.
Well, one question.
We might have another realtor.
Nah, I don't know, man.
Come on, girl. I don't know. I got you, girl. Don't worry. Yeah. I'll help you out with the contracts.
Okay, perfect. I might think about it. No, one question that right now that y'all were talking about the contracts and like reading word for word. I mean, how has AI really like changed the industry, or how has it affected the industry, or have you seen anything of like with AI?
Yeah, I mean, I personally use ChatGPT every day to rewrite, anything copywritten. So emails, when I'm doing like photo captions, marketing pieces, video ideas. So I personally use ChatGPT a lot. I also feel like now more than ever before, consumers have so much information at their fingertips, and they'll come to you and they've already done 75% of their homework, or they already know 75% of the contract or something like that.
Yeah.
And so I just think as agents now more than ever before, like, you have to really have a value proposition, because people just want information and convenience, and they can find a lot of that online now. What they can't get is the human connection, the unique guidance when the going gets tough. And so I think now more than ever, it's extra important that we are just showing what value we do bring to the table, besides just information that you can get from a robot.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's true.
She taught me how to use ChatGPT for the age of a water heater, was it? Yeah, I thought it was crazy.
Wait, water heaters have ages?
Yeah, it's like
the manufactured date.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's cool.
She did it like in 30 seconds.
Yeah, so sometimes clients are like, oh no, I wonder how old the AC is.
And then
you
just
take a picture of the label and you just ask ChatGPT, hey, how old is this? And she'll tell you, which sometimes you can see it for yourself, manufactured February 2012 or whatever.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's not clear, or it's like in code. And so ChatGPT would tell you, now you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
You can use it for pretty much anything these days.
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's also another thing. Grant, he gave a class about AI, and he did emphasize on how, like, AI pretty much is like more advanced than us, but that like person to person, they will never get to that, So yeah, I agree with that. And I wanted to ask, since you said you're like in the season of serving, through these 10 years, you've helped out so many people, right? How have you ever like stepped back to realize, like, man, I've helped out so many people?
Yeah, there's a specific moment that comes to mind. I think it was last year or the year before. I hosted a past client event. And so I rented out a whole entire movie theater just for my past clients. And I invited about maybe 500 people, 500 clients, and there was only like 100 seats in the theater. So not everybody got to go. And, some of my clients have moved, right? They left Houston and they went elsewhere, so they weren't able to make it anyways. But I remember the theater was 100% full. Oh, and wow. I remember I stepped down to the bottom to grab something, and I looked up, and that's when I realized, like, oh my gosh, like, I've gotten to help all these people with their real estate stuff. Yeah. And I know so much about them, and I could tell you, their kids' names, their dogs' names, all these little things. And I think that was like a big impactful moment for me. Like, wow, like, God's been so faithful. God's entrusted me with so much. Just looking up and seeing them all like in one room. Yeah. I was like, wow, this is amazing. That's crazy.
And that's not even half of the people.
Yeah, that was just a portion. Yeah, that was just a portion. So that was definitely like a oh shoot moment for me. Yeah. Like, this is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that feels really good. So now that we brought up God. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of God.
Yeah. How has God kind of like helped your business sway in the right direction?
How has God helped my business sway in the right direction? I mean, I think my relationship with God has changed over the years, and so has my business. So I think that, like, every year that I've been in business, God has kind of shown me different things, right? Mm-hmm. Like, at first, I was really leaning on God for different things that I am now, right? So I think fast forward to where I'm sitting today, I just think that a lot of peace, knowing that there's only so much that I can control. There's only so much that I can do, you know? So, you know, peace. And yeah, I really, really am doing my absolute best to slow down because I'm always going a million miles a minute.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm doing, you know, just the volume of tasks and business and deals and calls that flow through my hands and my head every day is just so much, and I'm so used to it. But other people around me are like, oh my gosh, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, I don't know, this is just normal for me. And it has been for such a long time that I don't realize that sometimes, like, oh wow, like I guess I am kind of doing the most, you know? So I've really been asking God to help me slow down and focus on what's most important, because so many things matter, but not everything matters equally. And so just asking God to put the right things on my heart, and then, you know, just serve and give back, and take these almost 10 years of experience that I have in real estate and, you know, just pour it out into people and, you know, just really give back and serve.
So how did you come to know God, or like when did you decide to give your life to God?
Yeah. So I grew up in church.
Okay.
Thank God. Yes, thank God. But I didn't really have like a personal relationship with God. I really wouldn't say that, you know, I actually came to know him as my savior until maybe around 18 or so. I had gone through a really, really tough season coming out of high school, and that was kind of like the season that broke me, right? And so I finally surrendered everything. I started going to church again because I stopped for a long time. And it was just such a beautiful season of like renewal, because so many things were changing, right? My career, you know, just so many things were changing at once. And I just, even still looking back at that season, it was just so beautiful to have like such a pure, like loving relationship with God. So like that, almost like that, I don't know how to describe it, like that awestruck newborn baby honeymoon.
That first love.
That first love, you know, relationship with God. It was such a beautiful season. Yeah, but yeah, I was around 18 or 19.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome, because speaking of the broken season, I feel like I'm probably getting out of it right now. And that's something we talked about like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, around there.
How we've both kind of been in that like lost season, I guess, where we're just kind of like we're remaining faithful, but there's not like a lot to show for it. And maybe I'm speaking out of a selfish standpoint because I don't see what I want to see, you know? But in the brokenness, like, how can I word this? I'm trying to think how to word it. Like, thinking back to it now, like, how do you see that God still remained faithful in your life, like, through that season?
You know, in that season of my life, I felt so separated from God. I just feel like God and I weren't even on the same planet. You know, I just felt like we were not, me and God were not friends. Like, from a distance, like, I knew who God was, and I wanted to believe that, you know, he was out there, he still cared about me, you know, he still acknowledged me as a daughter, but I really didn't think I believed it, you know? And so in the moment, I really just felt alone. I felt like, you know, God and I had kind of abandoned each other. Like, I kind of went in this direction, and so he just let me go, type of thing. But later, you know, I had to go through it. But later I realized, I heard this analogy once of like, if you're ever looking down during your walk with God and you only saw one set of footsteps, it's not because God wasn't with you. It's because God was carrying you. And that like saying that I heard, I was just like, wow, like that was me. You know, I felt so alone. I felt like God wasn't there for me. I felt like me and God weren't in relationship. But it's not that I was alone. It's that he was just carrying me through that difficult season, or that dry season, or that silent season. You know, sometimes we're not feeling that energy. We're not feeling that love that we want to get, all that amazing, all the positive feelings. Sometimes we don't have that, right? We're going through different seasons, but it doesn't mean that God's not with us. It just means that he's there for us in a different way.
Amen. I feel like I can kind of relate a little bit, not really, well, just a little bit, because I grew up going to a Catholic school, so they would teach us about like religion, and we would have mass on Fridays, and I'd have to be in the choir even though I don't sing. I'd still have to participate, and so I really learned about God, but I didn't know who he was. So when I left that school when I was like 13, 14, I was also going through like a period of like brokenness and stuff, and I was like, man, like I don't think he's real, and if he is, like, why would he be doing this to me? Like, I haven't done anything. And so then I was like, you know what, I really don't want anything to do with you. And it just came to another moment of brokenness of like, fine, like, you want to do that, go ahead, see where it leads you. And like, you finally crash out to the point where it's like, okay, like, who else can I run to but you? And like, he really uses those moments of like brokenness to like show you like he was always there the whole time. And it's just crazy because looking back at it, I've experienced a lot of things where I'm like, man, like I could have died that day, I could have gone through this, I could have gone through that, but like God didn't like leave my side. Even though I told him like, hey, I don't want anything to do with you, like leave me alone, he was always there. So it's crazy how God can use like those broken moments to heal you and to make you into who he wants you to be.
Yeah, and sometimes, like, you know, we talked about these seasons for us. I was 18 or 19 or 5 years ago or however long. And sometimes fast forward to today, like, we forget, right?
Yeah.
We sometimes forget what those moments really felt like or what God was really doing in our lives. And so for me, because I'm forgetful, and again, I have a million and one things always going on in my head. And my journal, first page of the journal, whenever I start a new journal, I always like to put like a few impactful times in my life where I saw God move in one way or another. Maybe it was positive. Maybe I still haven't seen the positiveness yet, but I know God was in it some way. I like to write it down and look back and, you know, like remind myself of these moments because you know, the storms come, we have our bad days, and sometimes it's just easy to, like, want to put God on the back burner or feel like, you know, he's just not there for me right now or this season or he doesn't care or whatever. And so just, you know, constantly reminding ourselves, like, God is in everything. He's always on the move, even if we can't see it, even if we, you know, can't see the positive in it right now. Eventually, all things do really work out for his good.
Amen.
So. Yeah, that's crazy you say that because just I think last month maybe, I was like really being broken down, you know, and just to be open, I almost was like, I'm going to quit real estate, you know, I'm going to quit this, quit everything basically. But then, like you said, you started thinking of like where he has shown up in the past to where you're at now, you know, like I've heard stories of, like, long story short, it took me like a whole year to take my real estate test, right? To even finish the classes. And how you said it takes people some weeks, you know, and I know personally it shouldn't have taken me that long, but you know it did. And it only took me 2 tries to pass the test, which I've heard like before I took the test, I went on YouTube to see how other people did on tests, and I was reading comments. And I'll never forget somebody said, yeah, I'm on my 14th try. And in my head, I'm like, oh, shoot, I don't know if I could do this, you know? But from when I started studying to when I took the test, I remember I went on a fast. Like, not like anything special. I think it was just like social media. And I was like I'm not going to get back on until I pass this test. And then the first one, I failed the state by a point. I got a 69, right? And then I went again, and I've heard people go like a month or two later because they want to study again. But I'm like, I'm the opposite. I'm like, no, like I need to go because I rely on my memory a lot.
Oh, it's still fresh.
Yeah, so I was like, no, I'll go again. And then I don't know what I got, but I passed, you know? So, like, whenever I also hear, like, you're living in an answered prayer season, like, I always go back to that moment to where I'm like, because I haven't seen much in my real estate career, and most of it is because of my actions, you know, and my effort. But when I try to think of, like, the negative side of my career, I always get reminded of, like, it only took you two times and how he was there, you know? And even when I hear other people's testimony, I think back to mine, and it's like, it doesn't feel special, like how other people are like, oh, well, he delivered me from drugs, like, in the next day. You know, to me, sometimes I'll think back, and I'm like, well, I don't know. I think Adriana just invited me, and then I went, and then I just gave my life. But then when you think before that, like, I also went through a season where I stopped believing for, like, a couple months because of like 2 answered prayers that I wasn't seeing. And now that I look back, like, it was better for me to have those doors shut than to get open. So yeah, that's a good. Now that you said about journaling, I might start doing that just to remind myself to be grateful about how far he's brought me, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like you also need to, like, cut yourself some slack because you were also, it took you, like, however long to do your test, but because you were getting married, you were planning a whole wedding. Like, that's also so much more stress.
That wedding season.
Not at the time, yeah. No.
Yeah, you had proposed to Abby when we were already here.
No, I think I was already...
Either way, you were planning on proposing, and then you were going to step into that season.
It was my grandpa. It was when
Grandpa.
I started, like, in December, and then in January, our grandpa passed away. And then that's when, like...
You took a break.
Everything went downhill pretty much.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was able to get back on my feet and lock in, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
But I am very hard on myself.
Yeah.
Even though I could be, like, a laid-back person, a lot of people say, and, like, very quiet and reserved, but... I do, like, I put a lot of pressure on myself, you know?
Well, the thing about real estate is that if you ask 10 different people about their real estate journey, you'll literally get 10 completely different answers. And not just real estate, but I think anybody's entrepreneurial journey. And so even though, yes, it's great to lean on others' experiences and stories for, like, inspiration or to kind of model after, at the end of the day, you know, everyone's real estate journey or entrepreneurial journey is different, is their own. And so you have to take, you know, your strengths, the gifts that God's given you specifically, and use it to your advantage. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about business, you know. At my brokerage, they say the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. And so you get to make your real estate journey, your real estate business, whatever you want it to be. And that's so cool. No.
I'm working on the gifts, trying to figure out what they are. I think we have something coming out about that in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, definitely been working on that. Because, and you're right, because you see so many different people use, like, some people are good at cold calling, and, like, I suck at cold calling. Yeah. Some people are good at door knocking, like, I don't feel like going door to door and knocking, you know? So, yeah, everybody has their own, like,
everyone gets their own business and their own clients in a totally different way.
And I also feel like more with, like, how you said the world is at your fingertips. Like, now a lot of people can fake a lot of things to where, like, they can say that they sold, like, 10 properties or 15 in a week, and it's like, no, you didn't, but just so that they can look like, pretty much fake it till you make it. Right. And, like, that's how they also could get clients, is, like, faking it till you make it. So I feel like it's hard to compare yourself, like she said, because there's so many different journeys that everybody goes on.
And honestly, like, the first few months, the first year, the first 2 years are always going to be the hardest, because you're getting your wheels turning. You're finding your footing. You're seeing what works for you, what doesn't work for you, what's the highest and best use of your time, your strengths, your weaknesses. And I think so many people underestimate just the tenacity aspect, showing up every day and making the cold calls or doing the door knocks or doing the open houses every single weekend because they're not seeing results. You know, we're so used to that instant gratification, and in real estate, commission-based industries, or people who are building their own business from the ground up, like, it's going to take time. Rome was not built overnight. Mm-hmm. And so I think with real estate, it's like so many people get in the industry. They think it's going to be, you know, just like selling Sunset. Or they think it's going to be just like Flip or Flop. And it's totally not. It's very fun. It's very rewarding. Yeah. And none of that comes until after so much hard work and so many hours are put in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Between us, I was about to quit doing open houses too. I'm not gonna lie. I promise you. I think I took Abby to, like, with her friends, right? They had lunch, and I stayed in the area because it was like in the Heights or something, and I'm not often over there, but I was like, you know, like, I went to the store, and then I don't know why, I was like, it was a Sunday, and I'm like, man, let me see if there are any open houses, and let me go see what they're doing to see, like, what's different. And then I went to one, and that house was huge, right? There was nobody else there. The agent, she kind of just was like, hey, how are you? I told her, oh, I'm just here to see, like, how other agents do and stuff. It was that. I walked it, I left. She didn't really say much. And I was like, let me go to another one. And then I don't remember the couple's name, but if they ever see this, I mean, I'm sure they'll know. But it was a husband and his wife. And I told him, like, yeah, I'm trying to see what I can do better, you know, to get more people in. And he was like, you know, I've seen a lot of, like, decrease in people showing up. You're the second person here. And they had, like, 30 minutes left to the open house. And when he said that, I was like, no, I think I did another open house, and then nobody showed up. And that's when I was like, yeah, this is my last open house, you know? But then I think I did another one for you, and then there was people coming in. So I was like, okay, then maybe I just need to do something different.
It's a mindset thing. It's a limiting belief thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I was taught this framework once for limiting beliefs. So if your limiting belief is no one ever goes to open houses, you reverse the thought completely. Bunch of people go to my open houses. And then you find proof of that. Who's an agent who has great turnouts at their open houses? And then you take action accordingly. Hey, let me set up a meeting with that agent, see what they're doing, so I could do the exact same thing. Because we tell ourselves stories that are not true. And then we look for validation in those stories. So that's what was happening. The agent was like, yeah, I've seen a decrease. And you went to another one and they were like, yeah, nobody's came. They didn't really talk to me much. But the converse of that is also true. There's open houses out there that are popping. Yeah. You just need to go after those and those agents that have that mindset. I love open houses. I mean, you can build a quick, successful business with open houses. You know why? Open houses are low-hanging fruit. It's people who are coming out. They're either sellers in the neighborhood who are starting to scope out, okay, what's going on in our neighborhood, or they're buyers, you know, and sometimes those buyers are like ready, willing, and able, but instead of you cold calling someone who doesn't even know you or might not even have to buy or sell, like, you have people coming to see you and your product. Like, it's a totally different scenario. And I have to give a shout out to Christy Bulares. She's an agent here in the Houston area. She teaches an amazing open house like class on how to get like a bunch of people through the door. And it's a weekly grind. I mean, if your open house is on Saturday, like, you have to do stuff from Sunday leading up to it that Saturday, but you will see results. And imagine if you did something like that, like every weekend for 6 months, like it would change your business like that. But who does that? Nobody does that.
True.
I will say one thing that from him that I've learned from like real estate, I thought it was like a solo thing, but the more like connected you are with your company or the agents that you're working with, like the more results you get. I really thought it was like independent, but everybody's a team. Like,
oh yeah, because you went to the,
yeah, I went to the
and,
one in Mariana, or what's it called? Meridiana. I went, and then I was like recording for them, and that's where I saw like, oh, like agents come in here and they just talk to each other, they show each other like, hey, this is what I'm doing, what are you doing? Oh, well, I'm doing this, and like everybody just gives each other tips. I really thought it was more selfish. But I'm like, man, like I'm surprised how many people are willing to help. And it like goes against like what like America is teaching right now, where it's like you have to do it on your own, you figure it out. Where it's like, no, everybody, like we're all here for each other, we can all help each other. And I was just like in shock when I realized like agents actually help each other.
And it was cool because it was like a bunch of new agents. Like most of them had either like me a year or two, or there was a few that were just like 2 months in, you know. So yeah, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, collaboration is really where it's at, because the community together, everyone's brains together can do so much more. And plus, usually every transaction has 2 agents, the listing agent and the buyer's agent. So, you know, you want to be friends. You want to be friends with these people. You want them to have a good impression of you, and vice versa. And same thing with like seasoned agents and new agents. New agents can learn from seasoned agents. Seasoned agents can help or need help from new agents. Like it's definitely like more of a collaborative thing, in my opinion. Not every agent thinks like that, but most do, which is nice that, you know, most companies and most agents do have more of a collaborative mindset.
Yeah, I agree. Because like there was a seasoned agent who wasn't too like tech savvy or like willing to post.
Me.
But thanks to her being there and teaching her and stuff, like she was able to learn like, hey, and I think we did like a small interview with her and then with somebody else. So it's cool to like even in that short interview, like we'll learn from her and then she learned from me. So it's kind of like there's food for everybody to eat, you know?
I love that.
I was gonna ask like, what in your business, what has been a moment that you could think of where, you know, it was a grind, it was a struggle, and you didn't know how a certain transaction or a build or anything was gonna go down, but God?
Oh man,
dang, that's a good question.
I know it's a lot.
Man. Give me 20 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead. We'll be back.
Yeah.
Don't click off. There's a few.
Yeah, I'm like, give me a sec. Okay. Everything was going wrong. Nothing was going right.
I guess that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You know?
There's just like, I don't know. I guess, so there is one transaction that comes to mind. There was this neighborhood on the north side of town where I had a couple of listings. So since I already had some market share in that neighborhood, I started like farming the neighborhood. I would send out postcards, I would door knock, all the open houses. And so I started getting a few more listings in the community. And so I had another listing in that neighborhood. And then I also brought the buyer. So I was listing it, and then one of the agents on my team at the time was representing the buyer, but it was all technically under my team, the Gonzalez Realty Group. And it was an out-of-state buyer. He was from New York, buying an investment property over here. And their lender, his bank, they were really tough to work with. It was like his family friend. I don't know if it was like funny money or what, but their lender was very, very, very difficult to work with. And that happens often with like out of state or state to state transactions, because that lender may not be well versed with Texas lending laws. So the pressure and the stakes were extra high, because basically I was representing all parties. And the sellers were like up to here with me. They're like, if closing doesn't happen, forget it, put the house back on the market. And this was what around the time when the market was starting to like, it was starting to do this. And I was like, if we put it back on the market, like, we're not going to get an offer at this price. Like, the market was literally like, I could see it in front of my face every day. The market was starting to change. And so I was like at a crossroads because the lender wasn't working with us. The buyer was starting to have a bad attitude. So I was like, okay, either I can just have the same attitude about it and count it as a loss, or I can really try and go in and make it happen, right? And so I remember I took a couple of deep breaths in my car. I tried to leave the stress out the door, and I walked into my office and I sat down my little team and I was like, let's talk about this and what we can do to make it happen. And each one of us came up with like a little action item, game plan. Everybody was going to go and execute within 2 hours. And then by the end of the day, we were going to know, okay, we did everything we could and it's going to happen, or we did everything we could and we just couldn't force it. And we made it happen. Nice. And so I was really nervous. You know, again, I just felt the pressure. But it was one of those like full circle moments. We actually set like a record high sale in the neighborhood with that transaction. Oh, wow. Wow. So I'm very grateful to say, I mean, there's a lot of crazy stories like that I could tell, but that was definitely one where like God made it happen. We all put our heads together and made it to the closing table.
Yeah, I think the importance there is like just taking some deep breaths and putting the stress to the side.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like oftentimes we felt, I mean, me personally, I felt to leave the stress. Because, I mean, there's not like, I'm not like you where I have a whole lot going on yet. But, and here, there's a lot going on all day long. Like, I realized that, I think a couple weeks ago, because Abby's like, when we're driving, I don't talk a lot, but I realize when I drive, that's like when my mind is mostly
thinking time. So
I'm just quiet, and so if I'm ever quiet, then I'm just thinking, guys. Like, everybody complains, but nah. But there's a lot always going on. Even when I pray, I realize like there's so much going on, I can't focus. You know. So I think that to emphasize on that, like sometimes we just gotta step to the side and leave that stuff over there. You know, so that we have a clear path to what we're meant to do.
Yeah, our clients are already going through enough, right? Their emotions are high, major life changes for them. And so I think it's extra important as the professionals in the transaction, like they're counting on us to be grounded, to be wise, to lay all things out on the table. And sometimes it can be tough, you know, they're getting stressed out, or they're getting anxious, or they yelled at you, and now sometimes it's easy for us to just carry that same reaction over. And we can't do that, you know. We have to, like you said, leave it at the door and stay objective, stay focused on, you know, our goal, our objective in every transaction. And it's not always easy, but
it's worth it.
Gotta do it.
Man, that's crazy. Hopefully, I don't have to run into that one day.
You will.
I will.
Just go ahead and prepare for it now.
Yeah. How do you handle like tough clients?
You know, every client is different, but at the end of the day, they're just humans with needs, concerns. So how do I deal with tough clients? You know, if it was like a situation that just happened and it was like a sticking point, sometimes I like to give them, even if it's just a few minutes or like an hour, 2 hours, to calm down, right? So I might say, hey, I'm stepping into an appointment. Let's touch base on this after 2:00 because I want to give you my undivided attention. So step one is kind of like give them a minute to chill, calm down, calm down a little bit and just process, this is probably something they do once in their lifetime or a few times in their lifetime. It can be a lot. So sometimes maybe just give them a little bit of space, and then just make them feel heard and just listen to what their concerns and their needs are, because Sometimes we're quick to jump to conclusions in our mind whenever they have a whole nother set of concerns that they want addressed, you know. I remember I was building a house for someone like a year or two ago, and just all these little things kept on coming up. And then when I took a minute to just sit down and say, hey, let's talk about it, then more of like, you know, her heart posture came out and like, well, listen, like I've just always thought about this and I've always wanted that. And then knowing that this change was going to happen, it was like, it just wasn't what I had envisioned this whole time, you know? And so just kind of hearing people out and finding the best solution that you can, right? Presenting options, presenting multiple solutions for them to choose from. And ultimately, like, the decision is theirs to make. Even if we're the realtor or whatever the situation is, they're still the client and we're just there to represent them. But the decisions are still theirs. Every now and then, you know, over the years, as I've gotten a little bit more emotionally intelligent and gotten a little bit more experience and maybe just a little bit of confidence over the years, I'm not afraid to, you know, kind of push back a little bit with certain clients because, you know, I'm a tough woman. I deal with a lot of men, especially on the construction side of real estate. And sometimes you have to know when to stand your ground and push back. Obviously, showing grace, still showing professionalism, not stooping down to people's levels, I think really gets you the respect. Maybe not even in the moment, but later down the road, they will remember and they will recognize, right? And so it's not always easy, I will say, but sometimes, you know, I'm not afraid to, you know, to stand my ground and to push back a little bit, because otherwise this industry or other people will take advantage and they'll chew you up and spit you out. And sometimes, you know, I have to let them know who Karen is, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're better than me because, well, now I'm better at that, but back then I used to snap like this, you know. And I know it's different, unfortunately, like being a woman to a man. There's more, and I say this respectfully, like there's more respect towards men than women, right? But that's good. I'm proud of you for standing your ground and not letting yourself get walked over, you know. But I had another question and then I forgot it again.
It's the age, man.
I
It's
know.
the age.
It's funny because I said I rely on my memory, but it's blanking out on me.
Man, the years are getting to you.
Yeah.
When do you turn 30?
December.
I'll be 30 in November.
Oh, wow.
Oof.
Yeah.
I don't feel that. No, I'm just kidding. No.
Only a few months.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know we were the same age either.
I didn't either. Yeah.
Dang. Well, so how do you feel that you're about to be 30 then?
You know, it's a little bit bittersweet, but I am very excited. I'm just feel like I'm in a little bit of a different season of life. I have a lot of changes going on personally, professionally. And so I feel like I'm almost like hitting the reset button right now in my life. And coincidentally, I'm also going to be 30 soon. So it's almost like I'm encapsulating it in like my 30th year, right? Yeah. But no, overall, I feel so blessed to, you know, kind of be stepping into a different season of what, you know, my last decade has looked like, of like so much grind, which I love, right? And I just like I'm stepping into a little bit more of a different season and making some adjustments. And I feel like the older I get, the more I'm starting to value more and more like my health. And so I did recently set out a big goal for myself that I want to accomplish during the time that I'm 30. A few years ago, my pastor at the time told me about when he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, which is the highest standalone mountain in Africa. And his story just resonated with me so much. It was just so amazing to me that he did that. I mean, how many people do you know that have climbed a mountain, you know, that high? Yeah. And so I had just kind of been thinking about, you know, some kind of big thing that I want to do to challenge myself physically. And I saw my pastor again like a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him about, that expedition all over again. And so Lord willing, next year I plan on climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh wow,
That's awesome.
you gotta have to document that, right?
Honestly,
You have to.
I'm gonna try. I'm not super tech savvy. Adriana can show me the road.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I got
if you need a camera person to go with you,
well, I don't know about the hiking.
give her 2 months, she'll be good to go.
Come on, girl. I'll probably do it in about a year from now.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it'll give me, enough time to train and do like some smaller mountain climbs leading up to that one.
That's cool.
So let me know.
Of course. No, speaking of that though, how do you because I know a lot of real estate agents, they're always looking for new properties, and they're always having to talk to their clients and stuff. How do you separate work and Karen? Karen,
oh my gosh.
Gonzalez Realty, and
question.
Karen,
Karen, just the person.
Yeah, Karen that wants to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah,
that's a great question.
Yeah.
And I think for any business owner, it's so easy to lose your identity in what you do versus who you are. And so I think the first boundary that I kind of drew was a few years ago, my sister was diagnosed with cancer. She was fighting a battle with cancer, and I really just wanted to be present with her. And my phone kept on blowing up, calls, text messages, emails. And so I got a second phone at the time. That was in 2020, I think. I got a second phone, and one is the phone number that everybody has, and another is a phone number that maybe 12 people on the whole planet have.
That's awesome.
So that's one of the boundaries that I drew. I also do my best to have office hours. So I tell people that I work Monday through Saturday 9 to 7. That way I'm kind of giving myself permission to turn my phone off at 7 or 8. And that way, if I just set that expectation up front, they actually really respect it. If they send me a late text or if they call me on a Sunday, they're like, I'm so sorry. I know this is your only day off.
Been there.
Yeah. And they're like, but I just wanted to mention this. We can talk about it tomorrow. People respect that, because if you tell someone I work Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, that's probably more hours than they work.
Yeah.
And so I think people just, you teach people how to treat you, and it's not easy because to Alex's point, our brains as business owners are always going and thinking about work and business. And so it's not easy, but just, flipping that switch of, okay, right now I'm with my family, or right now I'm going to work out, or whatever, it just kind of helps me get into a different, when I'm at the gym or when I'm at church, I don't like talking about work. When people ask me about work and stuff in those places, I don't really get into it a whole lot because I don't want to talk about it at that time. If you really want to dive in deep, okay, let's set up a time, we'll chat, But when I'm off, I'm off.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm out of it. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, because it's hard. Because one time I went to a wedding and there was a hairstylist there, and my friend was asking her, and she straight up was like, "If you want to know, just book an appointment, girl. I'm open these days." And I was like, "I respect you for that."
Yeah,
I respect you for that. Yeah,
respect.
Yeah.
So what does bouncing off of that? What is I don't know, every day is different, right? But what is a normal day look like for you?
A normal day in real estate?
Or life in general?
So a normal work day, I do start my days pretty early. Almost every day at 8 a.m. I have a meeting with my builder and any other people who are involved in any projects that we currently have going on. And then from there, same thing, early morning, probably 9 o'clock, I'm checking in with all of my clients, any pending stuff with any team members. And then from there, it's just appointments. I typically like to handle my important stuff in the mornings and then get to any on-site appointments in the afternoon. That way I know that I time blocked my stuff that I needed to get done in the morning. Otherwise, If you don't win the morning, you're not going to win the day, right? And then evenings, you know, I like to exercise, family time, friends. That's important to me. Alone time. I love just, you know, spending some time with myself, resetting, reading. It's, you know, really energizing because sometimes we're alone, but we're not actually like resetting or refueling. We're still thinking about a million things, or we're still working around the house. We're still doing stuff around the house, but just like re-energizing for me, like is important. And even though I don't nearly get as much rest as I wish I did, I do value that time that I do get to, you know, rest and reset. It's just so valuable, you know, like it really, oh man, I feel like such older. The older I get, the more, the more important I realize, like just resting your body, you know, just so important.
I feel like that's with everyone, though. Everyone getting a certain age, it's like you value rest so much more. But I guess kind of last question, kind of to close it off. I don't know if you have another question, but what is the Gonzalez Realty Group? Like, what did you guys do?
Yeah. So Gonzalez Realty Group specializes in real estate sales, investments, and construction. We're definitely new construction specialists through and through. And then myself with a partner, we also build custom houses around Houston.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're very nice. Yeah, I think I've done like 4 different open houses.
I've seen a handful of them. Yeah.
They're good. So if you need to,
if y'all want to contact Karen or me too.
if she wants to build something, if y'all want to build something,
contact Karen.
Get at Karen.
Let me know.
We'll leave her info.
For sure, we'll leave her info.
But thank you so much again for coming on and just dropping game to everybody about real estate and about God. I think it's very encouraging for maybe other people who are going through a broken season right now to realize that even through that, you can still have a posture of gratitude towards God. So
always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to add or note?
So, final thought to leave with everyone. I would just say, I know it sounds super, super cliche, but tomorrow really isn't promised. I think my mindset around that really changed whenever I had a sister who passed away. She was very young. She was 26. And, you know, we all live for tomorrow. We plan for tomorrow or our future, our retirement, and it's just not always promised. So whatever you feel like you want to accomplish, don't let the fear stop you from doing it today. Go out and make it happen.
Amen.
That's
hold
awesome.
On to that.
Yeah, definitely hold on to that, because one thing I would definitely take away is what you said of like choosing what is important and what isn't, because I feel like I'm the same way as you, where I'm like, okay, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, but it's really picking and choosing of like what you need to do. So thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate this conversation, and we're definitely going to be linking her stuff down below, so go check her out and follow her, and remember to stay fruitful. We will see you guys in the next one.
Peace.